Okay, believers, today we are going to go over ratios and equivalent ratios. Today is hashtag 11 days until the leap. Let's go ahead and get started. Here are our key points for today. A ratio compares two amounts at a constant rate. When writing ratios, order matters. So you can't have a number that's flipped around. Equivalent ratios are ratios with equal values. The way that we find this is that we simplify. And then when writing ratios, I should always use labels. This is particularly important when it comes to ordering. If we know that the ratio is 2 to 3, it's 2 what to 3 what. You want to make sure that's organized. Here's our first problem. Hudson bought several cans of tennis balls. Each can contained both green and yellow tennis balls. He purchased 10 green tennis balls and 5 yellow tennis balls in all. If each can had 2 green tennis balls, how many yellow tennis balls are in each can? So what I notice is that I have 10 to 5 as my ratio. I know that I need my labels. So it's 10 green and 5 yellow. I need to figure out if there's 2 green, how many yellow will there be? You were correct if you said 1 yellow. Really good job. Let's move on. Tomato juice is sold in a case with 8 cans. Use this information to complete the table. Well, I see that the number of cases is 1. When there is 1 case, how many cans are there? 8 is correct. When there are 32 cans, there would be 4 cases. 10 cases would be 80 cans. When there are 96 cans, there will be 12 cases. Using this information, what equation can we write for the table? Reminder that the number of cases will be your independent or your x variable, and the number of cans would be your y variable or your dependent variable. Check your work here. This is your first problem to try completely on your own. If you're confused, go back to your work for question 1. The ratio of blue marbles to red marbles in a bag is 11 to 9. If there are 99 blue marbles in the bag, how many red marbles are there? Make sure that you organize your work with both the labels and the ratio. Knowing that my original ratio was 11 to 9, and now my ratio is 99 to something, I have to think what I multiplied by to get my equivalent ratio. I know that I multiplied by 9 on both sides of my ratio to get that 11 to 9 becomes 99 to 81. Here's your second you try problem. For every 5 minutes jogged, Danielle can run 1 lap on the track. Use this information to complete the table. So if she's jogged for 5 minutes, how many laps has she run? She's run 1 lap. Well, if she's run 2 laps, how many minutes has she jogged? She's jogged 10 minutes. On the bottom, you could fill in any ratio that you'd like that is equivalent to 5 to 1 or 10 to 2. I selected numbers that were not in order as far as counting my 5s all the way through. So I chose 35 and 50. If she's jogged for 35 minutes, she's made 7 laps, and after 50 minutes, she has made 10 laps. Using this information, I can write an equation. Now, it doesn't give me a variable, so I know that I'm going to use x for my independent variable and y for my dependent variable. What's the equation that represents this relationship? If you said y equals 5x, you are incorrect, and you've gotten caught in one of the biggest mistakes that kids make. Remember that I'm moving from my independent variable to my dependent variable. So the question is, how did I go from 5 to 1, or 10 to 2, or 35 to 7, or 50 to 10? Whatever it is that I'm doing, I have to be able to do it for all values in my table. So the correct equation would be that y is equal to 1/5 of x. Another equivalent equation could be y is equal to x divided by 5. Now that you had 4 different example problems, this is now independent practice. Go ahead and answer this question on your own and pause the video. When you're done, come back and look at what we have as our correct answer and our biggest misconception. As you can see, I've annotated my problem. The biggest misconception here is probably letter D, because I see that the ratio is 24 to 1, and students may read this as 24 to 12 if they're going too quickly. The correct ratio is 2 to 1. Why is that? Please write it in the answer box here. It's 2 to 1 because 24 to 12 simplifies to 2 to 1. It has the same value as that ratio. This problem is slightly different. You're given a ratio table, and you need to find the ratios based on what I give you. So for example, 1 to 3 is the ratio of blank to blank because, and then you would explain. What does the ratio of 1 to 3 represent within the table? It represents the ratio of fish to cats. I know this because for every 1 fish, there are 3 cats. And if I multiply 1 to 3 times 14 on both sides, I would get 14 to 42. Go ahead and answer B, C, and D in the same way. Please check your work with me. This problem is particularly tricky. I would highly recommend that you annotate every part of the question and make a ratio table or some sort of model in order to help you answer it. Go ahead and answer the question and come back when you're done. The only possible correct answer is letter D because all the other pieces either are incorrect or we don't have enough information for. Again, for this question, please make sure that you're answering this on your own, show your work, and then come back to check your answer. For part A, you should have drawn a tape diagram to model the ratio of blue beads to orange beads. Please check your work. Here's my tape diagram with 5 boxes for the blue beads and 1 box for the orange beads. Now answer part B and complete the table. Notice that many of the answers were not in order. Just because she made necklaces doesn't mean that she can increase the beads at the same rate. Instead, the ratio of the blue beads to the orange beads continues to be the same relationship, even though some necklaces have more beads and some necklaces have fewer beads. Go ahead and answer part C. How many blue beads will there be when there are 120 beads in total? You can use the tape diagram above to help you find this answer. If I know that there are 120 beads in total, how can I figure out the amount of blue beads that would be on the necklace? If I take the blue beads and I divide it by the total number of boxes, which in this situation is 6, I can know the amount for each box. I can see that 20 goes into each box because when I add up 6 groups of 20, I get 120 beads. How many blue beads are there altogether when there are 120 beads on the necklace? Go ahead and check your work with mine. This is your final problem before your exit ticket. Please take very good care of showing all of your work. The biggest mistake that kids make is they think that the answer is 300. That can't be right. The total is 300. You should use a strategy like we used on our last page to draw a tape diagram to help you figure out the answer. If my total is 300, how much does each box represent in that total? Now that I know this information, that each box represents 60, I'll be able to find the point on the graph. Please check your work with mine. Your point should be at 120, 180. Go ahead and type in the box how you found your answer. That's the end of your video for today. Log into the Elluminate app to take your exit ticket. Remember, it'll be math exit ticket #11 days. Remember that tomorrow you'll have a video and exit ticket very similar to today.